welcome to Brew Tapcast. I'm Tap here for our final Flesh and Blood Monarch. I guess it's kind of a Pints and Previews video. We're having a pint. We're talking about the spoilers. The set is upon us. The pre-release was last weekend. This weekend is our full-on release, but we still hadn't had all the cards during that pre-release weekend. Now we do. The spoiler is all updated. All the cards are there except for the Fable, but we'll talk about that first thing. So technically it is a spoiler video, but it's the wrap-up of all that spoiler fun and shenaniganery. So with all that said, let's just get right into it. No need to beat around the bush. All right, here we are, and our first card is the Great Library of Solana. So this is our Fabled. So this is in all its glory by Fendenso Museum, I think is how you maybe say that name. We have a new kind of card. So Great Library of Solana. It's a light action landmark, cost 2, legendary. You can only have 1 in your deck. At the beginning of each end phase, if a hero has 2 or more cards with yellow color strips or yellow pitch value in their pitch zone, they gain +1 intellect until end of turn. So they get to draw an extra card at the end of the turn. Action: discard 2 cards with yellow strips. Destroy Great Library of Solana. Any hero may activate this ability. Go again. So we see this brand new landmark type thing. So essentially what it does is it's a global effect. So it affects everybody, affects all heroes, whether this is Ultimate Fit Fight or any kind of other just, single or single opponent format. So overall, neat. The art's really cool. I wish we had a little bit of a better picture here. This is just a snapshot of something that we found online. Kind of hard to find that card at the moment, but very pretty, very exciting, very neat card actually. So obviously this sits well with the Prism decks that we are currently seeing right now. You can definitely play a lot of yellows. A lot of the cards are yellows. Well, obviously a lot of them have yellow forms, but some of the triplicate series ones are yellows, and the other ones are generally pretty good because a lot of the attacks are pretty cheap for Prism. Depending upon, well, I should say a lot of the Phantasm attacks are pretty cheap. Sometimes, depending on the weapon you use, the attacks with the enchantments or the auras can be pretty expensive. But I think this could work out for them as well. I think it could be pretty powerful. But the fact that you can destroy it any time is a major downside, but hopefully a lot of people don't play yellows, and they're generally not the most commonly played cards in general. Generally want to maximize either pitch or power. Overall, I think this is pretty exciting, and I think this might actually be somewhat good and playable in Prism decks, which is a little bit worrisome as it is a Fable. There's just not going to be that many. It's going to be kind of brutal to deal with this. Like, this becomes a very playable card. It's going to be kind of hard because you're not going to be able to get it. It's just not going to be available. It's just, unless you win the lottery and you open a pack, it's not going to happen. And that's a little bit of a problem. So hopefully it does not make or break a deck, but it looks like it may make a deck pretty good. The only downside of this, again, is it is a symmetrical effect and people can just knock it out at any time. But then again, if you can engineer it so that you can have only the extra intellect and your opponent can't really destroy it, then this is a perfect card. 25% extra card draw for most heroes. Data Doll, 33% extra card draw per turn. So definitely pretty exciting and pretty cool. Doesn't have a pitch value. That's a downside. Doesn't defend for anything. So literally it's a dead card. It only can cost you things or get discarded, but that's not going to be all that exciting. So that is our Fable for the set. Great Library of Solana. So thank you, Solana. You've treated us so nicely. So second one is Luminaris. This is an illusionist, a light illusionist weapon, Scepter. It is majestic. It says during your action phase, illusionist auras you control are weapons with 1 attack power and once per turn attack or turn action 0 attack. While there is a yellow color strip in your pitch zone, illusionist attacks you control have go again. Keep in mind, this is, and those auras are illusionist attacks, because unless you're getting somehow it's not an illusionist enchantment, an illusionist aura, then yeah, that wouldn't be an illusionist deck. But the illusionist auras, so the shields and all of those instant ones that you can play are all actual illusionist things, so they all have go again if you have a yellow thing in your pitch zone. So this might be a little bit more of an exciting way to play the illusionist deck outside of using the Iris of Reality. That seems like it's a more expensive beating thing. If you're playing maybe more yellows, where you want to play the Library of Alexandria, then boom, maybe this is your weapon. it synergizes with that other thing and gives things go again. So yes, it does not fix the problem of spectral phantasm cards blowing up and not giving go again. Doesn't fix that. We got some stuff later that'll fix that. But it does give you a little bit more of a machine gun sort of Ira type thing, and that can be pretty powerful as well. So I think that looks pretty cool, and I think that would be the way that I lean if I'm going to be playing Illusionist at this point. So very much Kadachi-like. Could be pretty exciting. So all right, on to our next one. We're going to try to go through a little bit quicker because there's a lot more cards today. It's like 14 or 15. We have Blood Drop Brocade. This is a generic chest equipment, blocks for 0, but it says instant, destroy Blood Drop Brocade, gain 1 resource. Activate this ability only if you have dealt or been dealt damage this turn. Pretty cool. Instant speed, way to get a little bit of extra resources, whether that's through or for defense or for being on the offense. Someone has to lose life. Someone just got to lose life. So it's got that pretty cool art too. Like this, you can see her like whipping that sword or dagger out from the back right there. So like as soon as blood's gonna draw, then boom, you're gonna be off to the races, getting a little bit more resources. So again, I think this is versatile. It doesn't defend, which is not that great, but outside of that, it's kind of nice. It looks like it's mostly. I'm not really sure what kind of decks would really play this, but I don't think it really does enough to really make it into constructed. Limited, it might be kind of cool. If you pull any equipment's good when you pull it in limited, but sometimes you just need that extra action point, and it could be times where like your opponent maybe thinks like, all right, well, he's only got 1 card in hand, nothing in arsenal, no resource flowing. Maybe you can't do anything even though his attack has to go again. Well, maybe this is a way to give yourself some resources to actually do something. So could be pretty neat. Could be pretty lame. We'll have to see. I wish it had Battle Worn. A lot of things had Battle Worn. Too bad this doesn't have Battle Worn. All right, on to our next one. It is Arcanic Crackle. This is a Runeblade action attack. It is the blue pitch version. Costs 0, attacks for 1, but it also says deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Blocks for 3. So this is pretty nice. So we're looking to get a bunch of arcane damage, or sorry, not a bunch of arcane damage cards. At least the original Runeblade Viscera, I really like to have that mixture. It turned down a lot of bonuses for having dealt arcane damage. This looks like it'd fit there as well, and also. It's just a good strategy to have a card that attacks on multiple levels. You cannot block all the damage with 1 card. You can't. You have to take, with a single card, you're either going to pitch it to prevent arcane damage if you have the ability to do so, or you have to actually play it like defend with a card. So in that regard, it's really nice. The blue attacks for 1, yellow is 2, and red is 3. So they can be kind of nice, especially for 0 cost. So not too shabby. I don't think this is really going to see much chain play, just because chain doesn't care as much about arcane damage, more of a Viscera sort of thing. But you never know. All right, moving on to our next one. We have your Illusionist legendary equipment. We have Phantasmal Footsteps. This is a set of legs. The first time an Illusionist attack action card you control is destroyed each turn, you may pay 1. If you do, gain 1 action point. All right, cool. So like there's your whole Phantasm thing, downside somewhat eliminated. Now you have these cards that are attacking for very low amounts of resources, but you have the ability to have them just go boom and blow up the chain here. Well, this is a way to get your action point back. So yes, it's not that expensive. So maybe if you're thinking about adding 1 resource onto all those Phantasm cards, they become a little bit more fair, less broken, but you don't have to. It's not guaranteed to happen every time. You're not always going to have an opponent that has a 6-power thing. Unless you're playing, Duranthia, Guardian, stuff like that, then obviously that's different. But when you're just playing your average hero like Duranthia or Ira right now, the worst things they might have is, Enlightened Striker or CNC, which is a pretty good trade for any of your Phantasm cards. So this makes that downside a lot less painful here. And also says, whenever you defend with Phantasmal Footsteps, you may pay 1. If you do, it has 1 defense until end of turn. So essentially, you throw it on the chain there to defend with, and you can choose whether or not you want to add 1 defense to it, which is pretty cool. The downside is if Phantasmal Footsteps defends an Illusionist attack, a non-Illusionist attack with 6 or more, destroy it when the combat chain closes. So you get that 1, and then it goes boom. But what's cool to note is that you can give it 1 defense till end turn, but when it leaves, it doesn't get a -1 counter, like inherently from combat. So it's sort of like the warrior boots we saw, but a little bit different in that it never gets that -1 counter. You don't have to remove it. It just blocks for 1 if you want, and then it sort of wipes away. It blocks for 1 if you want, and wipes away. So in that regard, it's a little bit cool. You don't have to. It's a different way of playing things. So Phantasmal Footsteps, you require to pay resources and attack like the warrior boots. So it's a neat way of doing things, and I like it a lot for Phantasm. For Illusionist, it's really cool, and I think it's definitely a playable card. Really, if you want to go heavy Phantasm, this is a must-play card. Love it. Very beautiful, very powerful. All right, next card we have Vestige of Soul. This is our legendary light equipment. It is a chess piece. Oops. It says it has got one defense power. It says if a card has been put into your hero's soul this turn, whenever you pitch a light card, instead gain that many resources +1, and it's got Blade Break. So it blows up. Don't have the lucky Battle Worn that we've seen in a whole bunch of the other stuff in this set. But this is sort of, I mean, depending upon how you are charging or getting cards into your soul, this can be something that really takes a lot of your cards and just beefs them up. So if you're playing Warrior, if you're playing Bolton, and you have a bunch of charge, this is probably not a bad thing. You're going to have other armor slots that are actually pretty good, so this isn't going to be too bad. This is like playing your Tunic, right? And if you're playing heavy light, then this might be a really good thing to do. I mean, it's going to give you some extra pitch value later on for maybe you get a bunch of charge in your soul, and then you just start swinging like crazy, and really what's going to sort of like slow you down is either cards banished in your soul, like you can't keep doing the Bolton reaction, or you're going to run out of pitch resources. Well, if you have a lot of light stuff, you're getting an extra, depending upon which kind of card you do, you're getting 30 to 50% more resources, which is really quite good. Or 30 to 50 to 100% more resources from a pitch card. So that can be pretty exciting. That can give you another, even at the worst case scenario, if it's a red and it pitches and it ends up being 2, you get an extra hatchet swing in there, which ain't too shabby. So definitely can see play in very specific decks. I guess you could play this in Prism too. I don't see why not. There's not. I feel like there's not as many cards that go into their soul, with the need to have a pitch afterwards. That's going to help, but you never know. So, all right, next card we have, it is a Void Wraith. So we have, or Void Wrath. No, Void Wraith. That's what it is. Void Wraith. This is a red pitch, 2 cost, 5 power, 3 defense, shadow at action attack. It says you may play it from your banished zone. It has Blood Debt. Period. Done. Donezo. Common. There's a cycle of them. Attacks for 5/4/3. This is the 5/1. I think these are kind of where you want to be for your stable stuff. So, I think you kind of need this kind of stuff in Chain, particularly. You want to be able to play this stuff out of your Blood Debt. You're fine with banishing this because it's just an extra card, essentially, in your hand. So, bread and butter staple. I think play it. It'll be fine. Just get after it. Shadow action. So it could be used in Levia, but probably not really worth it. Doesn't have that 6 power, so really doesn't really matter outside of it being a Blood Debt card, but not super cool there. But yeah, great, because it requires a couple of cards to block, and you can play it out of your banished zone. The art also is like super like weirdly Demigorgon, so like that's like very much Demigorgon from like the Stranger Things sort of thing. At least the one on the right is. The one on the left is just kind of creepy, but yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Keep it moving. We have Captain's Call here. This is a generic action. It is a cycle of 3. It says choose one. The next attack action card with cost 2 or less you play this turn gains +2. Or the next attack action card with cost 2 or less you play this turn gains Go Again. And it has Go Again, defense for 2. Okay. Not too shabby. The yellow and blue are cost of 1 and 0. So you can have a variety of different cost things that are going to be bumped. So where do we see this? Well, it's good in Bolton if you want to have a bump in your attacks to give them the Bolton reaction. If you're looking to get Go Again, it's a free cost card for that kind of thing on a certain kind of attack. So that can be kind of nice as well. Outside of that, I don't know. It's okay. I mean, even Chain can play this. If Chain's looking to really get some value here, it's dead with his whole being able to play things out of the Blood Debt, but it also doesn't, out of the Banished Zone, but it also doesn't hurt you because it doesn't have Blood Debt. So ultimately, I don't really know where this is going to see a lot of play unless there's some deck that really needs some Go Again stuff. Outside of that, I'm not loving it. I'm not super excited about this. It kind of depends on how things shake out. Art's kind of cool. Some dude just sort of like got that broken up Solana flag, just trying to rally the troops, that sort of thing. All right, now we are on to some excitement. So we have Exude Confidence. This card. So this is a Majestic. It is a red pitch, 0 cost, 4 power, 2 defense attack action at generic. It is Majestic, as I said. And it says, while Exude Confidence isn't defended by a card with equal or greater power, the defending hero can't play or activate instants or defense reactions this combat chain. And then it has instant. 3 resources. Exude Confidence gains +2. Activate this ability only while Exude Confidence is attacking. This is a powerhouse. This is a card that I would say is one of my number ones. This is a Chase Majestic. This is going to be a card that you're going to want to put in any deck that attacks in general. The 0 cost, 4 power, kind of okay, like nothing like to write home about, right? But the fact that you can pump this and then basically stop people from defending with it is incredible. Like, yes, the dream scenarios, you have like 12 points of resources in your hand, right? And you can pump this 4 times. You're getting an extra 8 damage. So this becomes a 12 power attack. What are they going to do about it? Like, they can't like defend that with anything, right? It's not going to happen. There's very few cards that can actually block that. So this is sort of like a threat of activation card that's just it's got so much, power. Like, it's really like, well, your opponent's thinking like, what do they have in their hand? Can they really bump this stuff? The other thing is you can, even if they go to block, you can always just pop that power up if you want to spend the resources on it to eliminate them being able to fully block it out with defense reactions. It's incredible. It's an incredible card. I think it's going to go in pretty much any deck that wants to attack, and I love it. I'm excited about this card. I would definitely, if it's cheap, pick up copies. It's going to see some serious play. The other thing that I really want to note, because I think it's really important, is that this can be a game winner, like right on the board, game winner. It does not allow them to activate instants, so they can't play or activate instants. They can't play any life gain. Like, the sigils are just off. Like, you can't do it. So, like, cool. Like, there's no time after the damage is dealt before you die that you can play a sigil. And if you lock them out by saying, all right, cool, you defended for 4, I'm going to bump it up, you can't do anything about it. You're done. So it doesn't matter what's in your hand. If I have the resources and my life total or the power on this card is able to scale up to your life total, you are done. There's nothing you can do about it. I think that's really the game winning aspect right there. So, all right, on to a cycle. So we have our common defense. So our generic equipment, we have arms, chest, legs, and gauntlets, or arms, plate, helm, legs. These are the Ironhide series. So we have Ironhide Gauntlet, Ironhide Plate, Ironhide Legs, and Ironhide Helm. They all have the same text, and that is, when you defend with Ironhide blank, whatever it be, you may pay 1 resource. If you do, it gains +2 and destroy it when the combat chain closes. So nothing on its own, no battle worn, nothing like that, 0 defense. But and that's actually kind of neat, because if you find yourself attacking in or someone attacking like with buckling blow or something that's going to like hurt armor, it doesn't destroy it or anything like that. I guess they didn't destroy other things, but it does. I guess it still does actually have the plus. It would only be +1 if it had a -1 counter. But people are less likely to get after it and try to hurt these, because they're just kind of like, they are a little bit costly. But it's also pretty cool being able to have some resources on your turn and then buff up the power of your defense resources is pretty cool. It also can depend upon like if you want to activate this or not. Like, you can, I guess, actually, do you have to do this? Now, I'm not entirely sure when you actually have to pay. No, I think it's when you defend. So I guess it's not out of like surprise, but it's also like, this saves a card from your hand that would originally block for something, is just pitched away like arcane damage, arcane barrier, which is kind of nice. So it can sort of slow your burnout rate. So obviously these are great in limited. I don't really see them playing in constructed, but I love the idea behind them. It's very cool. So cycle of 4 of those. Pretty exciting. All right, our next card is Nourishing Emptiness. Another Majestic. This is a generic attack action. 1 pitch, 2 cost, 6 power, 3 defense. But it's got a very interesting text box. It says, well, there are no attack action cards in your graveyard. Nourishing Emptiness has Dominate. And if it hits, your hero gains 1 intellect until the end of turn. That's pretty cool. So we have seen, obviously extra cards are supremely powerful because again, depending on how many cards your starting hand is, this is theoretically 25 to 30% more cards on your next turn. That's huge. That's 25% more attacks. That's 25% more resources. Like, that's massive. So ultimately, this is not the best card to draw in the late game when you have a bunch of attack action cards in your graveyard. But maybe there's ways you can banish those so you can still get the dominate. Outside of that, probably not gonna, hit all the time because people are gonna throw cards away at this because they don't want you to get an extra card. It's a huge deal. Also note, it's defense for 3. There's not a lot of downsides here. Yeah, it's a little expensive. If it was always dominate and always 6, 2's not that bad, right? But it's a little bit expensive, and most of the time you're going to play this, it's not going to have dominate. But even so, very cool card. Love the neat art. I think it's really cool. But yeah, I think it's see play. Not as much as Exude Confidence. I think this will still see some play, though. All right, next one we have a cycle. It is pound for pound. So we have these 2 beefy boys just brawling it out. No shirts, getting after it. We have this is a red pitch, 3 cost, 6 power, 2 defense. This is when you play it, if you have less life than your opponent, it gains dominate. So not too bad. The blue attacks for 5. Sorry, the blue attacks for 4. Red, yellow for 5. So it's got step down each of those times. And ultimately, this is kind of a nice way to sort of finish it out. It can be sort of like it's sort of your comeback thing, and it makes like the flavor behind the card is like, oh, well, I originally thought of it as like pound for pound, like with your body weight, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take you. We're good for like pound for pound, blah blah. No, I think it's like you punch me, I'm gonna slug you right back. So you can gain dominate. So it's actually better to be on just like Scar first Scar. It's better to be sort of on the back foot. Then you come in and giving dominate. Like this could be a nice game finishing attack too, because like maybe they're at a low life, maybe they're like at 2, you're at 1. Or they're at 3 and you're at 2 or something like that, and giving this thing dominate and then maybe being able to pump it or something like that is pretty dang powerful. So obviously I think this is more of a limited card than a constructed card, but I think it'd still be a pretty good game winning card there. Yeah, a little expensive, but not much else to say about that. All right, we have Rouse the Ancients. This is our another majestic generic. It is a blue pitch, 3 cost, 0 power, 2 defense, majestic generic attack action. And you must be saying to yourself, well, 3 for 0? That's a bunch of garbage. Well, let's pause. Let's see the text box. As initial cost to play Rouse the Ancients, you may reveal any number of attack action cards from your hand with 13 or more total power. If you do, Rouse the Ancients gains +7 and go again. Now then we're seeing, all right, well, 3 costs for 7 and go again. That's not too shabby. You can definitely be happy with that. Yeah, it's still expensive, and it only blacks for 2, but that can be pretty good. So obviously, this is a better card to be played with the Brute decks. But at the same time, it's not maybe the best because it could just be 0. It doesn't count anywhere except for when you're playing it to have that boost. So that's the only thing that kind of stinks about it. Maybe it's a better fit in Guardian. But then again, they're looking to have big damage and have crush from that respect. But I think it's really cool. The art's awesome. I got no idea like what I'm even looking at, but this looks like this Earth avatar, and that's pretty super, super cool. So, all right, here we go. Time Skippers, our generic equipment legs. This is 0 defense, just a common here. We have action, pay 3, destroy Time Skippers, gain 2 action points. So this will be a way for the Illusionist to get around that Phantasm if they don't have any way to sort of deal with that. This gives you an extra action point, so you don't need to have go again to get it at the resolution. So if you crack in with a Phantasm card and they block it out and it blows up, you still got 1 action point. Kind of like an onboard Time Snap potion, except this is expensive. It starts in play, so you don't have to draw it, but it costs resources, whereas the potion you just sort of throw out and then leave there. Or, energy potion. What did I say? I don't even know what I said. Time Snap potion? Yeah, no. Yeah, Time Snap potion. But yeah, so it can be a good fit in the Phantasm decks. Otherwise, I'm not really sure where it's going to go. It could be a good way if you have like a bunch of chip damage, and then maybe you can like extend a turn to be a little bit more. It could be pretty good, but outside of that, I don't really know. Neat for limited, though. All right, we have our first warrior action for today. We have Plow Through. This is the red pitch, 1 cost, 3 defense warrior attack action. warrior action. It says your next weapon attack this turn gains +3, and if this weapon is defended by an attack action card, it gains +1 until end of turn. So it's got that sort of warrior. I think that's the Kasai, the Centauri Sabers sort of buff. If they defend with attack action cards, you get +1. So theoretically, the red one, which there are 3 colors, and it goes 3, 2, 1 for the buff, from the initial buff. This could be pretty good. I mean, 1 cost for a potential 3 or 4. That's pretty good. I could dig that. Definitely dig that. It doesn't carry forward with the weapon, so it's not like, oh, this like target weapon gains +3, and if it's when it is defended, so you can't stack them on hatchets and go to town like that. But I'd say that it's okay. I don't play a lot of warrior. I do know that 4 for 1 resources is strong. Maybe this will actually see some play. It does block for 3, which is nice too. So time will tell. I don't really know much about warrior, so I shouldn't say anything about that. All right, next one is Soul Food. So we are a little over half done, it looks like. We got Soul Food. Gotta love that. Soul Food is a light action. This is a yellow pitch, 0 cost, 2 defense, majestic. And it says, put Soul Food in all the cards in your hand to your hero's soul. Cheers to that, Soul Food. So this can be really bad, like straight up trash, garbage, poo-poo, or it could be okay. I think it really depends upon how or when or why you're going to be like, this would be a great turn 1 play, right? Your opponent can't do anything. They're not going to draw any extra cards. So it's like basically giving them the first turn, but you got to like load up your soul. It's like, cool. Your hero starts the game with 4 cards in its soul. Like, that'd be pretty cool. You play this, you just throw your entire first starting hand right under there, pass to your opponent, you draw, boom, all done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So in that regard, it could be pretty cool. But also when you pitch it, or when you draw it later, like you maybe have stuff in your soul, maybe you don't really need it. I guess it could be the last thing you do in a turn, but you have to have go again. And like, I feel like it feels like a waste when you're using a go again just to sort of just stick a card under your soul, unless you really need it. So guess I'm kind of tied on this card. I'm not really sure where it might see play, but I think it's cool if you're looking to charge up really quickly. Like, it's like, oh man, if my game plan is 100% on my soul, like I guess Prism can be pretty much on her soul. And maybe there's not a lot of cards that are going to get him in there. This is a guaranteed bunch of cards in your soul. So something to think about. I don't really know where it's going to fit. Very neat, but possibly very bad. Because when you don't want to have it, it's a bunch of garbage. All right, we have the next one. This is a common generic attack action. This is Zealous Belting. So this is a 1 pitch, 2 cost, 5 power, 2 defense. This is the red version. We have a yellow and a blue at 4 and 3 power. And it says, while there is a card in your pitch zone with power greater than Zealous Beating's base power, Zealous Beating has go again. So essentially, if you pitched a more powerful card, it has go again, which in some cases is actually quite good, especially with your, like the 4 and 5 power attacks are quite good in that regard, because if you're pitching something that's a higher thing, you're going to be smacking in for a good chunk of damage. 5 and 4 isn't bad. That's not going to defend a single card generally. It might require more than 1 card to defend with, and you have a go again. So maybe you pitch a blue card that's got 6 power or something like that. You crack in with the 5 power one, has go again. Like, you have 1 resource left. You maybe got 2 cards left in your hand. You might be able to get another big attack in there. So I think it makes blocking a little bit harder if you can get that trigger on there. But outside of that, pretty good. I mean, I do like it. The 2 defense is a little bit crappy, but I think for limited, this could be a really nice card for those big turns you may be looking to set up and do some serious beatdown. Could definitely see it in Levia. Alrighty, on to our next one. We have, I think this is our last Shadow Brute card we hadn't seen. This is Mark of the Beast. This is a 2 pitch, 2 cost, 6 power, 3 defense, Shadow Brute attack action at Majestic. And it says, if Mark of the Beast would be put in your graveyard from anywhere, instead banish it. It's got Blood Debt. So ultimately, this is a way to guarantee something in your Blood Debt zone. It's not amazing. 2 cost for 6 is okay. Defense for 3 is good. Outside of that, essentially it always is going to go to your banishment, which if you're looking to have something with Blood Debt, this is what you want to do. You can block with it, goes to your blood debt or to your banish zone. So ultimately, I think it depends on how you want to play things. But again, Levia is looking to banish a 6 power attack to shut off blood debt. So in that regard, it's a auto cool. Maybe I'm just gonna not have anything in my graveyard and I'm gonna get screwed or whatever. Automatic, whether I block with it. I guess block with it's gonna be too late. So really, you just want to throw this down to attack. So as long as you can attack with it, you're gonna get rid of that blood debt. So in that regard, it's like this nice stopgap of like, all right, well, cool. I don't think I can get anything banished into my graveyard this turn, or from my graveyard this turn. I just don't have a lot, or there's, not the greatest possibility. Like maybe I got like 4 blood debt cards, or sorry, 4 cards, and only one of them is a 6 power. Then it's like, but this is an automatic. Cool. I just attack with it, slams in there, and then you don't have to worry about it. So pretty cool. I like it. All right, next one we have Soul Shields. This is a majestic light defense reaction. So we did see a dark and a light defense reaction. This is Soul Shield. It is a yellow pitch, 2 cost, 6 defense, light defense reaction. And it says, put Soul Shield into your hero's soul when the combat chain closes. So it just a no big 2 cost, 6 power defense reaction that goes and does the thing that you kind of want to do, which is boosting your soul. Like, primo. This is definitely primo. I think it's a great card. At Majestic, it's going to be definitely something if you're playing a light hero to pick up. It's, why would you not? It's also yellow. So again, for those yellow Prism decks, boom, this is going to be there, right there for you. And I think Bolton could also play yellows and be okay with it. Get it, play it, it's good. Enough said about that. Next one, we have the Shadow version. We have Guardian of the Shadow Realm. Same sort of thing. This is a red pitch 2 cost Shadow Defense reaction, again 4/6, and it has action 2 resources. Return Guardian of the Shadow Realm to your hand. Activate this ability only when Guardian of the Shadow Realm is in your banished zone. So it's also got blood debt. So there's no guarantee you'll be able to get this to your banished zone. It will have to be some of those random banishing things, and then it can come back. So ultimately, when you're doing the Levia thing, you're going to be constantly banning stuff if you built your deck right. And hopefully you'll be turning off that blood debt, so it won't matter. But this is a card that essentially, although it isn't a 6 power thing, it turns off the blood debt damage. It's also something that's going to help prevent damage in the long run. For a cost of 2 resources, you can get it back and then play it again for another 2 resources. So I think it's pretty cool. Again, I think if you're a Shadow hero, particularly, I guess actually, I think it's better in Levia because you do want to have things that you can get out of there. This is something you can get out of there, but it also has blood debt, whereas Chain is like not as much as in love with it just because like he wants to be able to play stuff out of there, but this is just like, I guess you just get it to your hand, right? Nah, it's pretty dang good. Just get it and play it. It'll be awesome. Just, just do it. All right, 3 more. Woo, home stretch. We got Second Swing. It says this is a red pitch 1 power 3 defense warrior action. It says if you have attacked with a weapon this turn, your next attack this turn gains +4. Go again. So that's pretty nice. Although again, it doesn't target a weapon, so it's just your next attack with a particular weapon gets a bonus. But 4 for 1 again is pretty good. This one is a little bit less exciting than the previous one we saw. I think it was Captain's Call, just because it does require you to have already swung. If you didn't, it does literally nothing. There is a yellow and a blue version with a +3 and a +2. Frankly, just because you have to have swung is a little bit painful. I guess this could be good with the Dawnblade playing Dorinthia. That could be really nice. 1 cost, 4 buff. Yes, it's telegraphed by, obviously you play it out beforehand, but we have Warrior's Valor and stuff like that anyways. So yeah, outside of that, I think it's pretty good. But I would not write home about it, and I wouldn't probably play it in limited. But you never know. It could be pretty good. Alrighty. We are on to our last card. Although I said 2 more cards. One of them, it says in the notes section of the LSS. So they listed the card by card specific rules and stuff like that they do with every set. And there was a Phantasmal Spear Illusionist attack action, but I don't actually think that's one. I think that's the Spears of Surreality. So I don't think that the release notes were actually updated from, maybe this was called like literally Phantasmal Spear, and that's what they called it back in the day when they were making it. So that's not actually a card. Remove it from your mind. All right, our last one then, and probably one of my most exciting ones, is Sonata Arcanix. This is a Runeblade action, defends for 2, it pitches for red, and it costs XX. It says reveal the top X plus 3 cards of your deck. For each non-attack action card revealed this way, put an attack action card revealed this way into your hand. Then deal arcane damage to target hero equal to the number of cards put in your hand this way. Shuffle your deck, banish Sonata Arcanics, go again. So the art is just like phenomenal. I love this weird, like, interdimensional, weird stuff that's going on, and I'm really interested to see who that character is, because that is a character I would very much like to fool around with and learn about, because that's a neat little outfit he's got, and that seems pretty cool. But the cool thing about this card is that if you have a really good way to sink mana into it, it does some damage itself. If you're doing Runeblade things, you're going to have non-attack actions. You're going to have attack actions. Hopefully they're in somewhat equal proportions so that you can get some arcane damage out of this. Yes, you're not going to get your like 100% will not get your value out of the arcane damage. XX is quite a lot. But if you pay 4, let's say that's your paying 2 isn't that great, because then you're just revealing 4 cards. The maxes you're going to maybe get is 2 arcane damage and 2 extra cards. That's not bad, because you're still up. You're even on cards. You did 2 arcane damage. I think the money spot, the sweet spot is going to be X's 2, so you at least get to draw 5 cards, and then you might balance it out a little bit. Ultimately, it's going to be hard to see how this thing kind of goes. What I am excited about in regards to this is the interaction with Bloodchief Skeleton. So with Viscerai playing Bloodchief Skeleton, that allows you to have your next non-attack action and attack action cost X or less, X less, where X is the number of rune chants you have. So if you have like 15 rune chants in play, or sorry, let's go 16 rune chants in play, then X is 8, you're revealing 11 cards. Like, that is a very good, and that's just like popping the Skeleton, playing this for free. And let's say you're 50-50, you're looking at 11 cards. Shoot, let's just say you draw 5 cards. That's 1 card out of your hand. Let's say you had a 4-card hand. You have 3 cards, you draw 5, you have 8 cards in hand. With Go Again. Obviously, you're not going to have a huge amount of Go Again in your hand natively, maybe, because they're all attack actions, but you never really know. But that's a whole bunch of pitch. That's a whole bunch of stuff. That's a whole bunch of craziness. So that is a beefy and exciting card there. So, all right, those are all the cards we have. This is a long video, but we wrapped up all the rest of the Monarch spoiler cards into this big video, put a little bow on it, and send it off. So that is spoiler season, folks. A little bit of an ending that's a little bit delayed. Got my second COVID vaccination last weekend. Would have liked to have done it the weekend of pre-release, but could not do that. I was definitely under the weather after that shot. But so yeah, that's all for Pints and Previews this series. I'm assuming there'll be some set towards the end of summer / early fall. I don't know when Kingdom's coming out. I'm not sure if they're having the Crucible type card set come out as well this year. I really don't know. They haven't really said all that much. We know Crucible is coming back again in Unlimited, but we don't know anything other than that. So I think that's about all for this video then, and I want to thank everyone for coming and joining. And if you made it to the end, great job. You saw the sonata of the evening, and that'll be that. So for Brew Tap Cast, I am saying thank you and cheers.